Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Allison Tummon Kamphuis of Procter & Gamble and our esteemed panel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Allison Tummon Kamphuis. I am the Vice President of Community Impact and Equality and Inclusion at Procter & Gamble, and I'm delighted to be here this morning with these three wonderful women who are doing so much great work. And we're going to talk to you today a little bit about the Strong Women, Strong World program at World Vision, and we know that ending poverty begins with her. So let's get started. This is very important to me. I have worked in this area for more than 15 years. I have met many, many families, children around the world, and a lot of the work that I've done is in partnership. So that's why I'm delighted to have these partners here today. We know that this work can change the trajectory of the lives of children, their families, and communities. And one of these children is a young woman today named Grace, who many years ago, we met Grace when she was 4 years old. She was part of a program, one of many, that provided clean drinking water. And today, we just met Grace again in June of this year, and you can see her here as a teenager, thriving. She is going to a secondary school outside of her community. She has dreams to be a doctor, and the power of clean water has made such a difference in her life. So let's learn a little bit more about this work that's happening around the world. So joining me today is Charity Wallace, Lorraine McMillan, and Lani Dolifka. And we are going to start with Charity today, and I would love for you to tell us a little bit about this clear commitment that World Vision has to women and girls. You've been so involved in the Strong Women, Strong World work. So tell us about that, Charity.
Thank you. So, you know, as you started, the title of the panel is really about how poverty begins with her. And that's what we believe at World Vision. It's what Strong Women, Strong World is all about. And we know that because of research. Research shows that when we empower women, that it transforms communities, it transforms families, and it transforms countries. They're more stable and prosperous because women reinvest their income into their families and communities. So when we are able to lift them up and provide them opportunity, that's what's so critical. And yet women still have a huge, persistent challenges that they face. There's a $320 billion lack of access to capital and credit. There's over 1 billion women who have no access to financial services. So through Strong Women, Strong World, World Vision, and Vision Fund, that's what we are addressing. And the thing that I've loved so much about, I've had the privilege of working with World Vision as a consultant to help deliver this fund and design this fund. But also, I've sit on the advisory council. And the neat part about World Vision, I've had the privilege throughout my career to travel to over 75 countries and really see firsthand on the ground was making a difference for women and girls in particular. And World Vision's comprehensive and holistic approach that they take to addressing these challenges for women and girls is what's most compelling to me. So when we think about what World Vision does, you know, it's one of the largest global Christian relief organizations. It works with children and women and girls and men and boys. And they provide access to clean water. I really think about World Vision as addressing the challenges from birth to end of life. So they're addressing healthcare issues, they're addressing education for girls and boys. They're providing access to clean water, and WASH is one of the, water sanitation and hygiene is one of the greatest programs that we have at World Vision. You know, they are in over 100 countries, really combating the root causes of poverty and injustice, serving communities, and they're the largest non-government provider of clean water to people, and one person gets access to clean water every 10 seconds because of World Vision. And the other really neat part about it is 97% of the staff at World Vision are locals. So there's 40,000 people almost that work at World Vision around the world, and so they understand the communities in which they work, and I think that's one of the great parts of World Vision.
Absolutely. I mean, those efforts are equally impressive and comprehensive. So tell us a little bit more, though, about what those efforts mean for women and girls.
So, you know, as we've addressed the Strong Women, Strong World approach, like I said, it's a really comprehensive approach. It's a holistic approach. And Strong Women, Strong World really integrates very intentionally and strategically a focus on women and girls across all of their programs. So it's not a nice to do or an add-on. It's really integrated into everything that we do. And that's a really specific part of the work that we're doing here at World Vision. The first beneficiary of World Vision was a girl over 70 years ago. So it's really authentically a part of the DNA of World Vision, which is really critical. And over the last 7 years, we've helped more than 30 million women and girls through Strong Women, Strong World.
Wow, that is fantastic. So there's more to the story of impact. Lorraine, I want to ask you, tell us about the third leg of the stool, the microfinance loans, and what happens with Vision Fund. Tell us about that.
No, absolutely, thank you. So Vision Fund is the subsidiary or the microfinance subsidiary of World Vision International. We provide microfinance lending, insurance, education, loans to the most vulnerable. We are in 24 markets across the globe. Since 2003, we've lent 11 billion of loans over to about 20 million of loans. And so we're a global organization. We currently have 553 million of loans across the globe to the most vulnerable.
Excellent. So the work that you're doing is so important, and the statistics, I want to hear a little bit, tell us a bit more about the statistics. Not only that, but how are you doing it with the fund? How does it work? And, you know, this audience has a lot of expertise, I'm sure, in development and creative, innovative financing. So tell us a little bit more about how that's working.
Sure. I mean, number one, the statistics it's really disturbing, especially because 80% of people that live below the poverty line are actually in rural communities. In addition to that, across the globe, the majority of people that are in poverty are women. And then lastly, almost 1 billion of women don't have access to financial services. And so because of that, to really end extreme poverty is to really reach the most vulnerable, which is rural women. And at Vision Fund, in fact, 69% of our women 65% of our borrowers are women, and 64% of them are rural. And so what we've launched here at Vision Fund, which we're very excited about, is called the Strong Women Impact Fund. And what that does is to target this most vulnerable, these rural women. It's to build economic resilience, to improve household well-being, and also to break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. Why it's really exciting is because it's going to tailor the unique needs of women. So it's not just a blanket approach where you're just going to provide a normal loan. You're actually going to understand and develop products that will support the needs of women. And lastly, again, it's just to develop the livelihoods of women to help them move out of poverty and improve their economic well-being.
Excellent. So again, all these efforts are so incredibly comprehensive, and I think that's part of the reason for their success. So Charity, let me come back to you, and then we'll talk to Lani in a minute. Tell us a little bit about World Vision's contribution to the fund and how that's working. And
yes. So actually, Lani was the impetus behind this World Vision Strong Women Impact Fund. And that's because she's an impact investor, very savvy impact investor, and as well as a donor to World Vision. And so when we looked around to think about how do we actually uplift a community, we're investing in women. So we leverage World Vision's sustainable development programs that they have across these 100 countries. And there's a very strong economic empowerment program. It's a very rigorous curriculum that they go through. And actually, a third-party validator has said that the individuals who have gone through the program have earned 10 times what they did before they went through the program. So we know that we're creating this pipeline of prepared and equipped borrowers to then be a part of the Strong Women Impact Fund. So we're really leveraging the incredible work that World Vision does on the ground, both through the economic empowerment program, but then, as I referenced as well, the water, sanitation, and hygiene program, because those are part of the loan aspect. So, you know, it's for lone mother households, as you said, it's for small businesses, and it's also for water, sanitation, and hygiene interventions. So we're able to leverage what World Vision has done so effectively on the ground, and it's a really exciting part of what we're doing, and then actually creating that very strong pipeline of borrowers.
Excellent, excellent work. So there's just so many opportunities in what you said for families, and I know they're taking advantage. So clearly there's a lot here that's attractive to investors looking to make an impact, and one of those investors is you, Lani. So you were the founder of the Clean Water Here Foundation. You've also been a co-founder and are the CEO of Watermill Express. This is truly something that matters to you. You are, as Charity said, an early visionary. So what made you approach World Vision and Vision Fund about this opportunity? What was it that inspired you?
Yes, thank you, Allison. And I'd like to also personally just thank you and P&G for the work that you're doing. It's remarkable. But in my early 20s, I lived near an old chemical weapons plant that had contaminated my groundwater. And so I helped co-found a company that developed a multi-barrier water purification technology that brought safe drinking water to underserved communities in the U.S. And so as a woman entrepreneur, I know what it's like not to have access to capital. But I also know everything changes when you do, everything. And then as a philanthropist, I've seen the suffering of these vulnerable women that Lorraine spoke about. And so it was that dual lens that I approached World Vision and Vision Fund to see is there a way that we could develop a fund that specifically empowers women. And so it's been a real privilege to work alongside these women and the organization.
So as the impact investor that you are, what really stands out to you in this work and in this fund and how it happens?
Values alignment and flexible capital. Together that really makes a difference. And so what does that mean? Values alignment is, we all have agreed that the priority for this fund is to empower women. So that's values alignment. Investor return needs to support that, and that's flexible capital. So you add that together, and that can change the world, in particular in these hard to reach places. And Charity mentioned all of the size of the staff, the locations. These are in some of the hardest to reach places in this world that World Vision and Vision Fund work. Quite frankly, other NGOs and MFIs in many of these places aren't there because it's just too difficult to operate in. But I would like to share a few highlights of the fund, if I may.
Absolutely, please.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
So first, many of the loan officers of this fund will be women. And I know as a woman, I'm sorry, I keep touching that mic, I apologize. I feel like we're all in just a family conversation here. But as a woman, I'm more comfortable when I'm working with a woman across the table. So women loan officers is important. Thank you, Lorraine, for doing that. And it provides valuable and viable employment opportunities for qualified women. That's right. So that's great. Number two, Vision Fund and World Vision, they care about the human and the human being. And so they're not going to loan to a woman without, as Charity mentioned, equipping, educating, putting that woman through the sequence to make sure that she knows what she's getting herself into, that she's prepared to take this loan out, and she's prepared to pay it back. And that protects this human being, this woman. So I very much value that. And then finally, 4 out of the 5 criteria for 2X, this strong woman impact fund will meet. We'll run through these quickly. The first is leadership. So the fund is managed by women, and 38% of Vision Fund's board are women's. Employment, 49%
right.
Of your employees are women. So
over 7,000 employees in Vision Fund, and 49% of them are women.
Yeah, so great numbers, and certainly areas to improve as well. Consumption, as Charity mentioned, the products of this fund are intentionally meant for women, and that's a big deal. I very much appreciate that. Investment, again, through your microfinance institutions that you own and operate. There's 24.
Correct, all over the world.
Yeah, so such scale and scope that I'm so excited about. And then the last criteria, entrepreneurship. The vast majority of borrowers for the business loan side of this product will be women entrepreneurs. So, you know, there's a multiplying effect for that.
Absolutely. Well, I think just seeing the partnership that's here and how you're working together, it is remarkable. And the representation numbers are important because, you know, they beget the next generation of investment as well as impact in the community. So I'm delighted to hear that they keep growing right here on stage. So that's wonderful to hear. So the three of you, in hearing from you, represent all the multiple parties that are involved in this type of work to make it be successful. And so the commitment is clear that all of you have to women and girls, and I share it with you. So, you know, in the time we have now, tell us a little bit about, you know, as you look forward, you know, what are some of your future-looking thoughts about this work? Because I want to make sure everyone here shares that hope and, you know, aspiration that you all have and the dedication to making this, you know, become a reality. So, Charity, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit.
Sure. I mean, you know, I, again, have been part of this design of this fund, and the part of it that I absolutely feel confident about and love is the fact that we can leverage the World Vision programming to create this pipeline. We've lowered the risk for the borrowers themselves, which is really important. It's something that I care deeply about, all of us care deeply about, but we've also lowered the risk for the investors because we know these women have gone through, like Lani described, they're prepared to take these loans. So it's not a risk to them, which is really important. Something to me. And as I led the 2X office at the Development Finance Corporation, so the fact that we meet 4 of the 5 criteria is a really also important aspect to me. But I'm just thrilled about the opportunity that it will empower and really change the lives of the women that are going to be the borrowers. But then there's this ripple effect that happens, as we all know, where it'll transform their families' lives, and then their community and country will benefit from it. So for me, that's what's so exciting about this fund in particular and the work that we're doing.
Excellent. So, Lani, tell me about you. What do you look forward to as we take this forward?
Oh, goodness. So, as a woman, I know what it feels like to be overlooked. And I know here on this panel, we've probably experienced that in the audience. I'm sure you've had moments where you felt like you're not seen and you're not heard. But this fund, this is going to change the lives of over 200,000 women. It's going to provide them that renewed self-worth. They're going to be seen, they're going to be heard. And when a woman gains confidence, you know, she's gonna fight for her family. She's gonna fight for her children. She's gonna fight to get out of poverty. She's gonna fight to transform her community. And so, for me, these women, they're resilient. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely no question they're resilient, mm-hmm. but they may not have hope. And so this fund is going to help provide some hope. And it's just a real honor to be able to invest in other strong women around the world.
Absolutely. I like the name. Vision is important. These women have it for their families, they have it for their communities, and with this influx of capital and all the capability building and training that you've talked about, they will see those visions come true. So Lorraine, let me come back to you. Tell us about your vision for this fund, this partnership. And
sure. No, absolutely. I mean, to be more specific about the fund, it's a $100 million debt fund. And again, what we reiterated today is it's very specific to women's needs. And like Charity alluded to, there's specific products that we're developing, that we're researching, that will reach out to women on the field. And what are those products that we're looking into? It's lone mother households again, single mothers, and we're looking to see whether we can provide a discount to these mothers. Number two, it's for entrepreneurs, these women that have their own businesses, they're trying to grow their own businesses, businesses that will, of course, support the communities. Number 3 are fast loans. Fast loans are for savings groups. These are women that are on the bottom of the economic ladder. Why? Because these are individuals that borrow 20 to 100 US dollars, but you group them together, and so we're all supporting these group of women. And 4 are water loans. And again, it's to provide these women clean water in their communities. It's also to give them the ability to purchase products, to access clean water, sanitary pads, pipes. I mean, we take these things for granted as we sit here today in beautiful New York City, here in Concordia, but these women actually don't have access to clean water. So these loans are actually going to support these women. And what I'll also say, and lastly, is here at Vision Fund, we've created a very interesting product. It's an insurance product called HospiCash, where it's a health insurance product which is embedded into the actual loan. And it's not at an incremental cost to these women. And in fact, if, for example, the client has to be in the hospital for over 2 days, their costs will be reimbursed. And so there's no stress to them when they are sick and they're out of work, because these are women, again, that are supporting their families, that there's no stress to them, that they have this insurance, and then when they're recovered and they're out of the hospital, they'll get reimbursed. So lastly, I will just say before, I am the fund manager, I direct it, and I will, of course, have to pitch to you why you should invest in it as well, or talk to your friends about it. But again, we're all on this panel because it's very personal. And myself, I was a donor for World Vision for over a decade, and the reason why I started supporting World Vision is because I was in a room and I saw a sponsorship card of a little girl from the Philippines. And I looked at her and I said, she looks like me. And I thought to myself here in New York City, thinking, if my parents didn't immigrate to the US, then I would have been that girl. But instead, I got the opportunity for my parents to come here, I was born here, be in the position to do certain things to help out. And so today, we're here to say, give back. We're here to give back, to support what we truly believe in. And so I asked all of you, again, I know our time, our effort, our resources that we have is limited, or it's also being pulled in different directions, but I just ask, think about the opportunity that has been given to you, and this is why you're here today. And just think about the type of opportunity we can give these women from this fund. And so if you're not an impact investor, then I ask you, if you think of someone that's an impact investor or even interested to learn about it, please feel reach out. Or if you think there's potential partnerships, please feel free to reach out. Because lastly, at the end of the day, we all deserve an opportunity, and you can all be part of providing these women an opportunity as well.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you so much, all of you. I mean, this has been a great discussion about some very important work that you're all doing. And I think everyone in the seats here this morning in Concordia, and those who are in the virtual seats watching outside the room, I think it's important that we think about, it takes unique approaches, and we all have different contributions to make in this area, in this work. It may be technology, it may be investments, as you mentioned, how you influence policy, what kind of commitment can you make, your organization can make, because they're all needed for us to achieve SDG 6 for gender equality. And as we end today, think about that as you leave. How can you, your organizations, how can you step up and step into this work for women and girls? Because we do know that when women and girls have equal access and opportunity, they are resilient and everyone wins. So thank you very much for having us.